My name's Alexis, your host with Praises in the Pod, and I am so excited to have Mallory Smith here today. We are going to be talking about her testimony and just what all God has done in her life. We're going to start off in prayer, and then we're going to jump right in. So here we go. Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for all your many blessings, dear God. Thank you for allowing just us to come and talk about your goodness and your faithfulness. We just pray that you speak to us and through us, and let this podcast glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, Mallory. So we've already been talking a little bit, and like tears have already been flowing on my end. Like I feel like this is going to be so good. And I'm just so excited.
I'm excited.
Yes. So let's jump right in. Let's start at your childhood, work your way up, and get to where we are today.
Okay. So, I'm from the big city of Hawkinsville.
Big city.
I had a really, I guess when I think about my childhood, I'd say it was fun. Mm-hmm. My parents are very fly by the seat of your pants kind of parents.
Wow.
Yeah, we moved all the way across the country to Las Vegas when I was 5.
Wow.
I went to kindergarten in Las Vegas. Then we moved to Branson, Missouri, and then back to the big city of Hawkinsville.
Now, what did your parents do for y'all to move around?
They,
just
know what?
anything and everything.
Listen, they moved to Las Vegas, and my mom was a waitress, and my dad worked at a casino. Like, we weren't military. We were just living for the adventure, girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. You don't hear that a lot.
No.
You see that in movies.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, that's crazy.
That is my real life.
Nice.
I did grow up going to church, but my mom took us to church. My dad never really went to church. When I was in the 3rd grade, my mom, myself, and my 2 brothers were all saved and baptized. My dad, I'm sure he was there for our baptism. I'm sure he came. I don't remember that, but I'm sure he was. But from an early age, like, it became, like, I was obsessed with praying for my dad's salvation. I was being taught he would die and go to hell because that's the fact. Yeah. And oh my gosh, I prayed for my daddy religiously. I actually became obsessed with it, probably like OCD. Like, if I don't pray today,
it might not happen.
It might not happen.
You became a prayer warrior at a young age.
I did. So in 4th grade, I stood, I asked my pastor, could I go in front of the whole church and ask the church to pray for my dad's salvation? Because, like, maybe that's where all my anxiety started, because I'm like, no, I got to get my daddy down this aisle. My daddy's he's a big man, and he, as much as we prayed and prayed and prayed, I know I was praying. I feel like I was carrying that on my little shoulders, but he got saved. He came down the aisle, and he is my very first huge answered prayer. The whole situation with him pretty much taught me how important prayer is.
Yeah. How old were you when he did get saved?
I was in the 5th grade.
Oh, okay. So 2 good years of solid prayer.
Solid prayer. Yes.
Wow. Yes. That's a big answered prayer.
Oh my gosh.
For an elementary schooler to really be diving in, begging God for this, and then he answers in a mighty way.
Begging is the word too. Yes. Begging is the word. But after that, My parents had their ups and downs. They're still married. They're great. They're wonderful. But we stayed in church. I'm not going to say, like, I heard Alexa talk on your podcast, and she was like, we weren't really knocking it out of the park, like with Bible studies at home. But, I had great parents, and we were in church, and we learned the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's elementary school, middle school.
Yeah.
When do y'all meet? Because isn't Lance from Hawkinsville too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met Lance in the 9th grade. He was in the 11th grade.
Okay.
I had made a promise, or maybe a bet with my friends. I had 3 best friends that I would go to prom all 4 years of high school. Well, you have to go with a junior or senior. So Lance knows this, but he was just my ticket to prom.
Oh my gosh.
Funny how that turned out. But I went to prom with him, and I've been with him since.
Wow. Yeah. 9th grade.
I was 15. He was 17.
Wow. So y'all just instantly start dating after prom, or is it kind of like a friendship? How does that work?
He gave me his class ring in the hallway,
Yeah.
We dated pretty much instantly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Are y'all in church? How was his faith back then too, and y'all together?
I'll tell you, looking at it now, it's crazy to say, Lance really wasn't involved in church. My mom made a rule, like, if you want to see Mallory, you have to go to church.
Yeah.
So if you come to church on Sunday, then you can see her the next weekend. If you don't come to church, you don't get to see her. So he came to church because he wanted to see me, and that was the rules. That's how it went. So, I mean, it was very casual. He and I were not very involved in a youth group at that time. I had been as a middle schooler, but in high school, kind of fell off. But we went to church on Sundays, and you know, we broke up here and there, like high school relationships. So we were pretty much together all of our high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and I think back like in high school, because you said you weren't a part of a youth group, and I'm like, if the youth groups are what they are now, I would have been a part of that thing, which I never gave it a chance really. But, you know, like they are so awesome. And y'all have a youth group too, which we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, like I would have loved.
They're definitely different.
Yes.
Definitely different.
Okay. Because I'm like, I missed out. But I'm sure they've like really evolved over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So high school, you actually do have your oldest in high school. So tell me a little bit about that.
So actually, I graduated high school 3 months pregnant with Peyton.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to be fully transparent, I mean, Lance and I obviously did not wait till marriage, you know, and we had been together for 4 years when I got pregnant with Peyton. And yeah, it was very hard.
Yeah. Well, two, you're in a small town.
I was about to say we live in a really tiny town. I think I was probably the last person people would think would get pregnant in high school. I mean, I don't know if this is too much information, but I've only ever been with Lance. Like I've been with him my whole life, you know, so I've not had another relationship really other than Lance. So I did get pregnant, and it was just absolutely terrifying because I knew how it was going to break my parents' hearts.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I was never really scared to be a mom. Like, that's kind of all I ever wanted to be. Peyton wasn't the scary part. It was just the reaction of, like, my small town and my parents. Like, I knew it was going to break their hearts.
Yeah. Well, how did that affect, like, your walk at that time? Because, you know, like, you said y'all are going on Sundays. You're not really involved. But now, you know, you're pregnant at a young age.
Yeah.
You're not married. And I know, you know, you're probably getting some...
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just some, you know, negative responses and stuff like that. So are you like shameful?
Oh, gosh. Listen, I was so ashamed. And I worked in a precious little gift shop in Hawkinsville that's still there. Everybody knew me. And, you know, I mean, I was on the homecoming court. You know, like I was just like, I appeared to have it together. And then now I'm pregnant. And it was rough. It was rough. I mean, people were not nice. People, you know, lied and said it's not Lance's, which was completely impossible. Like, not even possible. Yeah. My mom worked in town too, so she heard all these rumors, and it was already hard enough on them. Like, they were already, you know, I'm sure they were ashamed and embarrassed. Let's be honest. They were angry.
Probably too is like, you know, you want more for your kids.
Of course.
And they know like you're a young age and now you're going to have to struggle and figure out this life before you're really even ready. Because at 17, 18 years old, I don't know anything. You know, like I don't know how to raise a kid. I barely know how to raise myself. And so, you know, we just want more for our kids than something like that. So,
you know, for a long time, I carried a lot of hurt from them, like of honestly, their reaction to it. Now I have a child of my own that, you know, I have children of my own, but I have a child of my own that was that age. And I mean, I can imagine. Yeah. You know, I can imagine how they felt.
Definitely. So after y'all have Peyton, what does life look like? Because new out of high school, really, what does that look like for y'all?
So I stayed with my parents. Lance and I did not get married right away. I had this huge fear that I would marry him because we had a kid and then it would end terribly. And I'm like, I've already got this all out of order. Like, I can't make the hole deeper, you know? So, Lance would have gotten married. His parents, so let me backtrack a little bit. His parents left when he was 17. He graduated at 17 and they moved away. So Lance was pretty much living on his own with his older brother. And,
what's their age difference?
So, let's see. Oh gosh, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, like, he didn't have a lot of order. He was working at a grocery store. And so his parents weren't around, and, you know, I stayed with my parents. I just felt like I needed that stability for Peyton. I didn't feel like Lance could take care of us, you know, at that time. I was in college. I went straight to college out of high school. Like, I tried to put my life on a fast track because I'm like, you know, here we are.
I want to beat the statistics of all of this.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually had Peyton, and 3 days later, I went back to college and sat on a pillow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. But anyway.
Determination.
Yes, for sure. I stayed with my mom until Peyton was 18 months old. And it was rough because, and here I am, a mom, that's my kid, you know, and like, they're still telling me like what to do and how to do it. I will say though, and my mom would tell you the same thing. Like, I raised Peyton from the get. Like, I was up by myself with him at night. Lance never spent the night there. Like, I did it. Like, you know, I grinded it out. But we got married in Jamaica when Peyton was 18 months old. Yes.
Little destination wedding. Okay.
I told you, like, I got that from my dad, I guess. Like, we'll just take off and go somewhere. So just looking for an adventure.
Nice.
But yeah, we got married in Jamaica when he was 18 months old. So,
okay, so y'all get married.
Yes.
You're around the age of what? 20?
20.
Okay. So now y'all live together.
Right.
Everything else, how does that look?
Okay. So, just to be fully transparent, I have separation anxiety like no other. So my whole life, my person was my mom.
Yeah.
Like, she's my person. I have a lot of anxiety about like her dying or her leaving me, which I have no reason to have this anxiety, by the way. Like, she's been consistent. She's never I don't even know.
Yeah.
And so my mom was my person. So I moved in with Lance, obviously. We were married. And my mom's still my person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a problem. So I think marriage is hard in the beginning for anybody, you know, when you move in with people. I'd been with Lance for 5 years, so like, I knew Lance, but living with Lance is like
different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, like, we have an 18-month-old kid that I've lived with full time, you know, for 18 months.
To adjust
now,
too.
Yeah.
Not just being married, but to having a full-time
Yes.
kid.
And I mean, let me say, he's seen Peyton every day of his life. Like, he's always been a great dad. But just living with someone is just different. So I think our marriage was kind of rocky at first, and I was like, I don't even know if this is what I need to be doing. But 4 months into our marriage, I get diagnosed with a very rare type of uterine cancer. So now it's already kind of shaky. We've got this baby, and now I have cancer. So that was tough.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to have to deal with, you know, your first year of marriage with a young baby and everything else. So that takes a toll. What is your spiritual walk looking like right at around this time?
I would say there probably wasn't one.
Okay.
Just to be completely honest. I would say there probably wasn't one.
I didn't know, like, if maybe what you find this out and now you're angry with God and like you're just going off the deep end, or what that looked like. So you're just not really there.
It's just not there. Yeah.
Okay. And so how do you deal with it? Like, what's going on?
So Lance was the only one working at the time.
Yeah.
He's working, he was working swing shift. I was still in college. I had no choice, but pretty much to move back in with my mom. I didn't really move in per se, but I had to stay there all the time because I was so sick. I got really sick really quick.
So you had to take chemo and stuff?
Yeah. So
right off the bat?
Immediately. Had a few surgeries. I'm taking chemotherapy. My mom pretty much had to like take a leave from work. My dad was still working, but I mean, Lance couldn't because he was our income. He's who had my insurance, you know, he had to. And to be completely honest with you, me and Lance were so distant at this point. And I don't want to say he didn't care. For years, I kind of resented him because I'm like, I was like dying. I felt like, and trying to be a mom. And where were you at?
Yeah.
Like, my mama had to do it. But, now, like, it's a completely different perspective for me. Like, he's a young man. He's 21.
And doing all that he can.
That he can. He didn't know what to do with me. You know, I'm sick, and he didn't know what to do with me. And Peyton, and obviously he was still dealing with Peyton because my mom had to deal with me. But it was a zoo. And to be honest, that whole year of my life is probably a blur. It's like, I can't remember a lot from it. And I think it's because I was just so sick and I was just trying to get through it.
Yeah.
So that was just
you
a rough
came
year.
out of that.
Yeah.
So you went into remission or like?
Yeah. So the kind of cancer I had, pretty much when you beat it, you don't get it back. Thank God. But I had to have some surgeries. They didn't take my uterus out, which is insane.
Yeah.
Thank God. They told me I probably would never have another child. Like, that wasn't in the cards for me.
Yeah.
I had one doctor who I love with all my heart tell me, I think you could, but my cancer doctor said it's not going to happen. So, yeah, we got through that.
That's tough to hear at such a young age.
It is.
You know, because you just became a mother at a young age, and now you want probably more because you were young when you had your first, and so there's just
And
more
I thought,
in the cards.
I really want the experience of being pregnant with a husband and having that healthy. You know what I'm saying? But I thought, okay, well, that's not going to happen. Thank God I have Peyton.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, even though your doctor said that, we know now that you do have more children. So, well, how did that come about? Was it just like a complete shock, or?
Well, this is so funny to say. I guess it's not funny. I don't know. It's funny to me.
Yeah.
Kipton is the only kid that I have that was born in wedlock. So, Kipton is, Peyton makes fun of me because I say, I all the time describe Kipton because he's my little miracle baby, but he is. But, so about 4 years after my cancer diagnosis and I beat cancer, me and Lance are doing better because I want to say after cancer, I feel like me and Lance had to get to know each other again because like that was just like this breaks, on our new marriage. We had to get to know each other again, and we're doing better. And I just have to go every 6 months now, and I'm everything's looking good with me. I'm healthy, and I just started praying for a baby. And back to the story about my dad, like I just could remember these specific times in my life where God has really answered prayers. And I didn't even tell Lance, like I did not tell Lance I'm praying for this baby, but I would pray constantly. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, by the way, at this point. Lance got a better job. I'm babysitting random kids, just trying to make ends meet. I had to put college aside. Like now, I couldn't do it all, And I would just get on my knees. I can still remember the bedroom in the house we were renting, and I would just pray, like, God, give me a baby, and I want it to be a boy. Like, I want Peyton to have a baby brother. And sure enough, I got pregnant with Kipton.
How long were you in prayer for another child?
I'd say a year.
And Lance has no idea that you're praying.
No
Wow.
idea.
Because you associated being so in prayer with that miracle that you experienced as a child with your dad. Now you know the power of prayer.
Right.
So you go straight into prayer and you're like, you know what, God, I know what the doctor said, but you can make anything happen.
Right.
So, wow. So you become pregnant.
Right.
And
I go to the doctor, and my daughter was such an angel, and he was so supportive. He was like, we're going to do this. You're going to do it. We're going to do it. Let's do it. So we did. And I'll tell you, Kipton was the easiest pregnancy and the easiest delivery, if deliveries can be easy. He was the easiest. And that's kind of the end of that cancer chapter for me. Like when Kipton was born, that's kind of the end of that.
Brighter days ahead.
Yes. Like he was the end of that ugly chapter, and he was the beginning of like the brightest chapter. He was, and I hate to say this because I don't want Peyton or Lance to hear this, but like Kipton brought so much joy with him. Like he truly did. Like when he came, he just brought the joy. Yeah.
It just felt like a missing piece that wasn't there, that you didn't know that you were missing, but he just started to complete that.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So y'all, you just got this answered prayer.
Yes.
Is this when maybe you start really trying to dig deep, or?
So at this point, Lance and I are going to church every Sunday.
Okay.
We're going to church at the church I grew up at. My pastor there was Freddie Rhodes. He's passed away now. I'll say he's my pastor until I die, because he was such an influence in my life and in Lance's. And this is where things start to get crazy for us, because about this time, people start telling Lance, random people, you're being called to the ministry. I'm talking about the Direct TV guy. And we're like, he's on drugs.
Yeah.
And then my granny, she passed away 2 years ago, but she had told me, she was like, Lance is made to be a pastor. He's so kind and he's humble and he's gentle. He's made to be a pastor. I think Lance needs to be a pastor. And we're like, hello, do you know us?
Yeah.
Things like that started happening. Well, then Lance started feeling called to ministry. So Lance called our pastor over to the house. And he came and he was sitting on our couch and, girl, we were so tight on money. Honey, it don't even make no sense how we were making it back then with those 2 kids. And anyway, he came there and he was like, yep, I think you're being called to the ministry, Lance.
Wow.
And Lance was like, yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it.
I feel it, but I'm not sure.
That's a big commitment. He's working. We got 2 kids. I am like, that was the loneliest I'd ever been in my life. I was so lonely because I was at home all day with those 2 kids. I was babysitting other people's kids. I was surrounded by children. My parents, I had kids young. My parents still work full time. I don't have any help. People my age, I was, 23 when I had Kipton. Like, my friends are still out living their best life. Like they don't have kids. They're not
just
married
carefree,
yet.
just out and about.
I was just lonely. But Lance was like, this was the beginning of Lance piling things on our plate. He decided to go to school for ministry. But I'll tell you, he didn't decide. All those people, all the pastor, all those prayers, all that call, I can still remember where we are in the car, like where we were driving. And we were talking about it in the front seat, and Peyton in the back seat, who was probably 6 at the time, said, Daddy, you can keep running like Jonah. You're going to have to go.
Oh,
I have a Bible that I've written all these things in. Girl, and people are like, he didn't say that. No, he really said that. And Lance and I both just like stopped. And like, that's a part of Lance's testimony. He tells that all the time. And I'm like, Peyton now doesn't even remember saying that. But I'm like, Peyton, that was a turning point.
Yes.
Like that was the corner. So Lance decided after that, like, okay, I'm going to have to go to Nineveh after all. Here we go. So
I gotta go.
So he went to school for ministry then.
Wow. I mean, to have a 6-year-old, that says a lot about y'all's parenting too, and being in church for him to even, correlate those 2 stories.
Yeah.
And just a bit like that is such a mature answer. Like, wow.
I think he was kind of born an old man.
Yeah.
God knew I needed him to be one, and he has pretty much been one his whole life.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So he goes to school, and that's probably even a lonelier season for you because now you're still keeping the kids.
Yes.
You have 2, but now he's in school, working full time.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it was heavy. How
do you navigate that?
I don't know. I think that me and my brothers were raised to just, my mom had really high expectations. We weren't babied. We were expected to do what needed to be done to push through. My mom's come through a lot of adversity, and so that's how she approached life. And now looking back, like, I'm thankful for that because, like, we didn't have time to sit around and cry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be done. I got to make some money. I got to keep these people's kids. I got to feed my kids. The house has got to be cleaned. Regardless, like, get over it and get it done. Get off your butt, and make it happen. So I guess that's how I just pushed through. What other choice did I have,
Because life's going to keep going.
Right, exactly.
Either you're going to, like, just sit in it and be content and just, like, spiral. Or you're just going to push through and come out on the other side eventually.
Yeah.
So how does he really get into ministry? Like, how does this youth pastor and all this get started?
Okay, so he's in school. He is working as an electrician now. Let's see, we bought our first house. I decided, like, Kipton's getting older. He can go to pre-K now. I'm tired of being at home. Like, I want to have the chance to have an education as well. I started going to school to be a respiratory therapist. So now he's working full time and in college. I'm being a mom full time. I'm in college. And we get a call from First Baptist Church of Hawkinsville. And they were, well, actually, it was my band director. She had been my band director. I was on the dance line in high school.
Okay.
And she asked me, would Lance be, and, interested in being the youth pastor there? And I'm like, we come with no experience.
Yeah.
Like, he's in college. Like, we're trying, we're learning. We don't know. Like, we're really raw. We don't have any experience. And she's like, no, I think you'll be a great fit. Shout out to them for giving us a chance.
Yes.
In a small town, a very prominent church, everyone knows our story. And he became youth pastor there. And those kids, they taught us so much. I mean, we were young.
Yeah.
And our kids were young. Our kids were raised in that youth group, our boys. And now those kids are grown. They're married. They have their own kids. Some of them are my best friends now. They're women,
Yeah.
They're women and men, and we're so proud of that group. I mean, man, they taught us so much, and I'm sure we messed up a lot because we were learning, but they, oh gosh.
To be expected.
Yeah, they were great, and that's where we started.
Wow. So that was that time period seemed like it was like a big shift. Like,
oh gosh, yeah.
You were at home in a lonely season, but
Yes.
now like you're kind of in a whole nother chapter
Right.
because now you're working, y'all
Yes.
have jumped into ministry together. And that's always so beautiful because like there's so many times that like recently I've noticed like it's never just we're talking about a pastor. It's always a pastor and a wife because
Yeah.
this is a ministry together.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're being, held at a higher standard
Right.
because you're leading people to the Lord. And that's a vision that God has given,
Yes.
y'all as a couple. And so I'm sure that's tough, like living that at a young age, trying to figure it out
Right.
and everything else. So y'all are there for a long time.
Well, we were there for 2 years, but during the time we were there, my doctor, so we're like, we have 2 kids.
Yeah.
They're healthy, they're beautiful, they're growing. We are busy.
Yeah.
And Lance got a vasectomy. We're like, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. 6 months after his vasectomy, my doctor saw some things he didn't like and was like, you need a hysterectomy. So I had hysterectomy at 28.
Wow, that's young, girl.
Yeah. We are double sure we're done with kids.
Yeah.
Like, we're not having any more kids. We're done. We're going to take care of the kids at Hawkinsville, and we are out with having kids. So after 2 years of being in the youth there, he was part-time. He got offered a full-time job as a youth pastor at a different church. So we left and went to a different church so that he could, we thought it would give us more time, because he's working full-time as an electrician. We're doing youth ministry.
Yeah.
And so he left there and we went to a different church where he could be full-time youth pastor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So y'all both cannot have children anymore, but
Right.
we know that you do have another
Yes.
child. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that.
So, after, we are certain we're not having any more kids, I was really excited about that, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I've been being a parent since I was 18. Like, this is good. I'm going to raise these kids. The boys are growing. They're great. I love being a boy mom. I love a baseball field or a soccer field. Like, I love sports. I'm good with it. Like, it's great. We're doing good with that. We're excited about it, just being a family of 4. But then God starts putting on our heart, my heart specifically, to adopt.
Wow.
And I pushed that. I pushed that. First off, I didn't feel like we could afford it. So, I started praying about it because it just would not go away. Started talking to Lance about it. He was all on board. We reached out to a few private adoption agencies. I don't know if you've ever done that then, which this has been a while ago. It was $30,000 to $40,000.
Wow.
That didn't really sit right with us for a multitude of reasons. I'm not talking about agencies. I'm just saying. But we couldn't afford it even if it did sit right with us. Like, it wasn't.
That wasn't in the cards.
It wasn't in the cards. We have a few doctor friends. Our pediatrician is a saint, and he adopted pretty much just from somebody he knew from the practice. So we felt like, we're going to reach out to him. We reached out to a doctor in Atlanta that was a family friend and was like, if you hear of anyone that's wanting to, give their child up for adoption, and we can do it privately. We just try to get our name out there to different places. My OBGYN, and we probably about 6 months into that, it just wasn't, nothing was happening.
Yeah. Felt like a dead end.
Yeah, we're still pretty busy. Like, it's okay. Like, I never felt like I'm missing a piece. Like, my family unit was good, if that's all it was. But I had a dream one night of my white chest and a very dark hand on my chest, a baby's hand. And I woke up and I told Lance, I was like, Lance, we're going to adopt, and it's a girl, and she's brown. And he was like, okay. He was good with that. He was fine with that. But we were like, how does this happen?
Yeah.
Like, where does, because like now I know, I know how this
Now you're looking for her.
Yeah, I'm like, where is she at? Yeah.
Yes.
I know how this is going to end. But like, how? We had a friend that approached us and was like, you can always go through foster care. And my first reaction was what everyone's first reaction is. Oh, but they might go home.
I know.
They might go home. And everyone has that fear. I mean, I already had 2 children. I knew what it would be like to become attached. I just told you I have separation anxiety, I knew what it would be like to become attached, and then the child might not get to stay. So at this point, we start researching. I start listening to sermons. I start reading about foster care and adoption through foster care. And I was pushing back on it because, I'm like, I'm going to fall in love. My boys are going to fall in love, Lance, and we're very well could pack this child up and send him home if we decide to go this route. Well, I read in a book where this woman said, but that's the problem. It's not about you. Like God said, serve the orphans. Yes. Like it's not about you. So do it for the kid, do it like not selfishly. So we decided, okay, we'll try it. We'll do foster care. Yeah. And we went through the classes and jumped through a bunch of hoops. You have to do home inspections and all kind of stuff to be a foster parent. And we did all that. And I have to tell you this part because this is the best part. I'm praying specifically now. So now I know what I'm praying for specifically. I'm praying for this brown girl. we go to this impact class, which is the class you take to become a foster parent. It was a whole weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lance was actually pastoring, like he was the head pastor at this point. So we had to get somebody to fill in, and we're going through this going through this class. We go through the whole class. It just pretty much talks about the legal side of it. But at the very end of the class, the teacher's name was Dexter. I love him to death. He gave me and Lance a really hard time about all kind of stuff. He was silly. But at the end, he was like, I want you as a couple, there's several couples there, to take this sheet of paper, and I want you to draw your perfect child that you're going to get from foster care. So
well,
I was like,
you.
okay,
you already know.
I'm like, give me the pencil, Lance, because baby, this one's on me. So I drew this little girl. I shaded her dark. I drew all this big curly hair, and you had to put, he asked where was she born, and I wrote out of state, because I thought in my head, selfishly, if she's born out of state, this will be easier for me to maneuver, to handle. Why did she come into care? There's only certain reasons a child comes into care. I thought neglect would be the least of all those reasons, so I wrote neglect. What does she like? And I put Disney World and princesses and Barbies, and I drew this. And so then he's like, now stand up and show it to the class, and we did. And he said, now I want you to rip it up, because foster care is not about you, and you're not going to get what you want.
Oh, wow.
I have chills. I ripped it up. I wish I would have took a picture. So we got approved on a Tuesday. We picked her up on a Thursday.
Wow.
They called me and they said, we have a baby up here that we've taken into care. She was born in Virginia. I'm like, out of state? Well, yeah, and we know you're Caucasian, and we want to let you know she's African American. And I'm like, do not move.
Yeah,
I am coming now. We have no car seat. This is at night in Hawkinsville. Do you know that there's nobody that has a car seat in Hawkinsville? Dollar General ain't got a car seat. I'm calling friends. I'm like, listen, rip your car seat out. I will bring it back to you. I need it right now. We go and we pick up this tiny little bitty baby girl. And I got her that night, and we got home, and I had to bathe her, and I have nothing. I have zero. Lance is at Dollar General just trying to find bottles. She don't have formula. She don't have diapers. She has nothing. You have a baby. That's it. And my mom came over, and my mom said, I was just washing dishes. I literally detached. And my mama said, why aren't you holding her? And I was like, because if I do.
Yeah.
But I did. And that was it. That was it. I thought, I will move heaven and earth.
Yeah.
Because she can't go back to where she came from. And she was sick. I mean, she was just kind of, she was failure to thrive is what she was. I took her to my pediatrician and he was like, we're going to have a time. We got to get her caught up. We're going to have a time. She's 6 weeks old, by the way. I don't know if I said that.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, she's 6 weeks old. I think she weighed 6 pounds. So, she was just, it was a time. But do you know that within 8 weeks, that girl was on target?
Wow.
She was on target. And Lord, DFACS.
Thriving.
Yes, DFACS, forgive me, because I broke every rule because, the baby's got to sleep in her own room and her own bassinet. The baby slept on my chest.
Yeah.
I'm like, and the caseworker would come and she'd say, where is she sleeping? I'm like, oh, in that beautiful nursery we lanced through together.
Seen them walls.
Baby, she ain't never slept in that nursery. But anyway, it was 18 months of hell.
Yeah.
Fighting because, foster care is messy. And in that time, we also got more foster children, by the way. Like they're coming and going. And these were kids that would come and they would say, we need you to keep them for a week until another home is ready. It's heartbreaking all the same. I mean, I don't think people understand the foster care system and how full it is and how limited foster parents are. And anyway, we had, Anna Ruth had 2 scheduled visits a week with her biological family. We had court every month. Sometimes, the biological family doesn't show up at all. Regardless, I had to go to these visitations. Yeah. And DFACS, the caseworker, was like, I can transport her there. I can take her to the visits. And I'm like, no, she's mine. I'll take her. I need to see what's going on. I would work all night at the hospital, not go to sleep, come home, take her to a visitation. Whether they showed up or not, I was there. I never missed one.
Did they show up or?
Occasionally. Yeah. More times I have a journal that I kept because I don't want her to ever have questions that I can't answer. Where I would write notes of every visit. And more times than not, they did not show up. If they did show up, they would call me after, their visits were supposed to be 2 hours long. They'd call me after about 20 minutes and say, the caseworker would say, we need you to come back. The child's done nothing but cry. And she didn't cry. Like she didn't cry. So, it was, those visits were hell, to be honest, for me and her and Lance. I mean, Lance and I would just sit in the parking lot and wait to get that call because we're like, we need to go get our child, know. So
I'm sure that is such the visits and everything too, but you have this vision, this dream of what you have.
Yeah.
And now you're not sure if like, because, there's so many times that like it feels perfect.
Right.
And this is it. This is exactly what it is. And then come to find out it's not. So you're having to walk a fine line of like, but it's not legal yet, and everything. So I'm sure this
so
is
much doubt. And I'll tell you, after everything I've been through, like teenage pregnancy, cancer, like nothing was as hard as that.
Yeah.
That's the hardest storm I've ever walked through. And it literally drained me. Me and Lance always had more of a peace about it, but like I doubted. Because we'd go to court every month, and every month the judge would say, we're sending her back home. This mom's going to be better now, and we're going to send her back home. And, it was never good for her to go back home. And I knew that. And I'm like, I'm in love with this kid. And like, I just want her to have her best shot at life. And I'll tell you how it finally ended. Her biological mom did start showing up to visits. And at this point, Anna Ruth was 18 months old. So she could call me, Mom and Daddy. And Lance, Daddy. It's not like we taught her that. She heard my boys doing that. She loved us. She loved those boys. They loved her. My poor Peyton, he had so much anxiety. He was only in the 5th or 6th grade, and we'd go to court, and I'd have to call his teacher and say, please tell him court's over and she's home.
Good.
Because he was just so, it gave him so much. I mean, we're attached to this baby. One night, she was up in the middle of the night for whatever reason. And I stood in the middle of my living room floor, the house we live in now, and What a Beautiful Name It Is was playing. And I just held her in my arms and I said, God, she's yours. I am so sorry when I acted like she was mine. And I'm going to pray for her mama now because she was 18. I've been an 18-year-old mama.
Yeah.
The difference is I had support. She did not. And let me pray for her. Like, I am so sorry that I haven't thought to do that before now. And I started just meeting her with so much kindness. Like, when I saw her, I hugged her. Like, the night after that happened, I got a phone call the next morning. And it was a caseworker. And she said, her mother called and she would like to sign over rights to you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the court did not decide. She decided. And I will tell you, I still talk to her.
Wow.
We have a very open communication. I'm proud of her. She has been through hell, and the one thing good she got, she gave to me. And I love her. I mean, you know, I've had people tell me, got her off. I could never. So, yeah.
Wow. So y'all, does she get to see Anna Ruth, or
She hasn't seen her. So anytime you adopt from the state, it's a closed adoption. She has seen her once. She came, Anna Ruth is in the Nutcracker every year. And she came to Nutcracker and she's seen her once. It was very confusing for Anna. I'll be honest with you. The trauma of visitations and being like her being just ripped out of my arms and forced to sit with people that she just didn't know was hard on her. She doesn't necessarily remember that, but she has a lot of trauma. This just wasn't healthy for her right now. But I talk to her regularly, probably twice a month. I promised her when she signed over rights that I would always send pictures and be very transparent. Anna does sing happy birthday to her every year. I mean, you know, I think there'll be a time when they can see each other and it be healthy, but it's just not right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So have y'all already maybe started talking to her about the adoption? And
Yeah. She is fully aware. Their pictures, the mother and the father, are framed in her room. She talks about them by name. She's very aware that she's been adopted. You know, I started telling her from the moment I got her, I would rock her and I would tell her a story about how we prayed for her and the angels brought her and how she's ours now. And she couldn't come in my belly, but she came from the angels. So she can quote that story. Like, she tells that story. And I've made it very elaborate. Like, oh, and I knew you were a princess, so we had to go to Disney World and you met all the princesses. So she quotes it like to a T. So she's very aware she's adopted. She loves to tell people. I mean, I never wanted it to be like this shocking moment for her. I mean, obviously she's brown and we're not. So she was going to find out. And I'll tell you, kids point it out to her all the time. So now she's ready. She's prepared. She's got the answer. So.
Oh my gosh. That is the most beautiful story.
Yeah.
Like, truly, that is such a beautiful story. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I know I'm an ugly crier and I'm like,
you're not.
I'm like huffing in the mic. But like, truly, like, that is so touching because, you know, something that you prayed for, you've experienced those answered prayers left and right, every chapter. Right. We kind of talked about that a little bit before of, you know, every storm.
Yes.
You were praying for a specific thing.
Right.
You knew without a shadow of a doubt, you wanted your dad saved. You wanted to be healed of cancer. You want a brown baby, you know, like.
I wanted Kipton. I wanted Peyton to have a brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of these things. And so, like, you're just so specific in prayer. Right. And God tells us to be specific. Yes. And there's so many times in prayer that we are just very, vague. I want this, Lord, please, Lord, make this happen, blah, blah, blah. But for you've seen, be specific.
Right.
You know, and that is just so powerful. I think so many people can take that away. You know, take that biggest nugget from this
Right.
is be specific.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's good, girl. I guess we're going to go ahead and start closing up.
Okay.
So with that, what is maybe something that we haven't touched on, or maybe you're going through right now, or what does life look like? And maybe you're in something right now that you're praying about or
Right.
whatever. What would you like to close?
So, obviously right now, I think the biggest thing for us, for Lance and I, is we're praying for a building for Southside Hawkinsville. We're praying for people to come alongside us. I'll tell you, for the last 3 years, we've pretty much done ministry alone.
Yeah.
Like, we decided to leave our last church. Lance became a full-time teacher, so he could really get in the mission field with the teenagers, and it has proven to be such a success. I mean, we have a large youth group, and for a really long time, it was just me and Lance doing it. Now we've got people, coming along with us, and we need more. We need more because we ready to get this church started. Yeah. We need a building. We need a youth pastor. We need a children's pastor. We need
All
people, everything. We
Yes.
need, everybody to help us. But that's our biggest prayer right now. We're super busy. Lance works full time. He teaches, coaches, preaches. I work full time. Our children all have a million different things going on, and we're just chugging along.
Yeah.
And I'm praying specifically still. So when those prayers are answered, I'll be able to say it was those specific prayers.
That is amazing, because I guess I haven't said, but Lance, her husband, is one of our pastors for our future campus, Southside Hawkinsville. And so we have been, I think we announced it last Vision Sunday. Right. And so they have been, trying to get a building and trying to really plant there.
Yes.
And we have already seen the student ministry that y'all have, the youth ministry, just boom.
Yes.
Like, y'all are doing incredible things in Hawkinsville already without the four walls, the corporate worship.
Right,
y'all
right.
are already on mission.
Right.
And it is just beautiful to see. And we just have big plans, big prayers, everything else for that.
Yes.
Y'all have so much going on. Y'all's story is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Now that we're sitting here, I'm like, man, it would have been nice to bring Lance on with you too. And we could have done a 2-part series.
Yeah.
It just sounds great. But this has been wonderful, Mallory. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this as much as we have. This has been absolutely incredible. So stay tuned, stay blessed, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.